Begin by being aware of your whole experience right now, your body, breath, what's going on in your mind. And what did you bring in from the moments that came before this? And what's your response to those words about bravery and compassion, courage, hope, optimism? And then we can let that all be part of the soup. Notice your whole body and what your body feels like, where it's positioned. Are you warm enough? Are you comfortable? Do you need to move and stretch for a moment first? What could you do to make your experience more relaxed right now? And when we notice this space the body is occupying, we notice a whole bunch of things. We notice our sense perceptions, the feeling of temperature in the room, maybe cooler air. If we're too warm, too hot, we would notice that. The fabric on our skin, the air that flows through our nostrils. And we notice muscles and nerves and pain and contraction. We tend to pay more attention to that than we do to the areas of our body that feel perfectly fine. And we're also practiced at this. We know when we come in and pay attention to the body that most likely we'll find what we usually find. Maybe our shoulders, upper back are tight, we're clenching our teeth, there's a knot in our gut. We have this familiarity of our system. And we have the thoughts in the mind. Right now, there might be some of those words kind of drifting around in there. There could be associations with them. Well, I'm not brave. The inner critic might be giving you a list of all the times when you were not exhibiting courage or bravery. And that's part of what we're doing when we're inquiring is we're having a look to see what it is that's here. You're taking a few deep breaths. Let your body relax and let your thoughts settle. We'll come back to them later. And as you breathe more deeply, notice what that feels like. Does it feel like that's nourishing and helpful? Does it feel like it's a bit much? Notice your response to your breath. Bring your attention to your forehead and your eyebrows. Lift your eyebrows up and then let them settle. Soften your eyes, deep muscles of your eyes, the corners of your eyes. Now through your cheeks. your mouth and jaw, that tongue, your throat, whole area of speech. And if the mind was activated either before you came or from some of those words, there might be some thoughts rolling around in the mind that are perhaps reflected in the vocal cords, sub-vocalizing. We sometimes do. So really focus in on your throat for a moment. See if you could let any activity at all come to rest. And notice the sides of your neck and down into your shoulders. If you were to let your shoulders soften and get kind of heavy, notice that it could affect the whole of your body just by relaxing that one part. Kind of a important area often to let it soften. The back of the neck, the upper back, the large muscles of the upper back, shoulder blades. And notice how that softness can come down into your arms and your hands, your fingers, your fingertips. Let your arms and hands be at rest. Or perhaps you need to move them, and that would be fine too. And coming out to the awareness of your whole body, the whole of the space that your body's in and what's happening in that space. And then come into the front of the body through the face again. Notice what's happening in your forehead and eyes, mouth, throat, and then down into the collarbones and the chest. Notice your chest and your stomach area. This is the part of the body where we have movement with our breath. That's part of what we're noticing. You might be noticing other sensations, thoughts. And then as you settle back into just this awareness of your chest, your stomach, your lower belly, anchor in for a moment to your breath and to that movement with your breath. Let your system settle just by anchoring your attention to your breath. And feel your whole back body relax and soften from the back of the neck and shoulders down through the upper, mid back, lower back. And become aware of your legs as well. Let your legs settle into a resting situation. We don't need to run about or run away. We don't need to use our legs and our feet right at the moment. We do our service and our action in the world through our hands and feet. And right now we're resting. And bring your attention back to your forehead and your brain and your thoughts. Notice what's going on in your thought stream right now. Is it kind of quiet? Is there a lot of activity? And if you were situated at the back of your head, looking at the thoughts as they come and go in your brain, we could look and watch and do this inquiry from awareness, from that perspective of the witness or observer. Sometimes we'll get caught up in the thoughts, and that's okay. And then we'll notice that we're caught up when we come back. And we could start with the words themselves: courage, bravery. What comes to mind when you think of courage and bravery? And if you were to put those words up in your mind's eye and maybe add other words to it, first responder, someone who saved someone's life, might be one of the examples we have of bravery. It might be something really specific. Put up some images and words onto like a big collage in your mind. You could open your eyes and put it on the wall over on the other side of the room if you want, or on the ceiling if you're lying down. Just to let our mind form associations with those two words, courage and bravery. And we're not personalizing it at the moment. We're looking at kind of a broad perspective. Notice your breath in your body. Stay present with yourself in that way in this moment. And then, if you want, you could bring in associations that are more personal, like I'm brave, I'm courageous. And what are some examples of that? And a lot of these might be more emotional, some of them will be relational, things maybe that we've had a hard conversation with somebody, or we've shown up to be with somebody in a way that was difficult. Some of them will be our relationship with ourselves. Let's take a few minutes, and if you need to do tapping or tracing, if you need to pull back from this, focus on your body and breath. As much as you can, try to remain aware that you're in this moment and that you're looking at this. You're aware of your breath and of your body. I'm brave. The mind will most likely bring forward some evidence that you're not, because that's what the mind does. We don't need to ignore it or suppress it, but we don't need to give it the ring of truth either. I'm just looking to see what's here. I'm courageous. We're just interested to know what's here. A little bit like a scientist, we have that objective witness. We might be looking at memories and notice the courage that it takes to be present with ourselves as we're looking at these. Bravery can also be this presence that we stay attuned to ourselves. Stay connected in your body with your breath. If you're having any experiences of self criticism, of your mind bringing forward these times when you feel like you let yourself down or betrayed yourself, that you weren't able to be as brave or courageous as you would have liked, see if you could look at that and hold that with compassion. There's always a reason. And being brave isn't a yes, no, it's a continuum. And when we've had trauma, we're often shut down or we have some kind of response, a trauma response that gets in the way of really being there for ourselves. So see if you could keep that as a consideration as you're paying attention to this. To not judge yourself as not being perfect at this, which would be so common and not helpful. Could you have some kindness, some compassion for yourself? And again, really staying present in your body, in your breath. This is the present moment right now. You might be looking at memories of things, and those are in the past. Right now, we're here. Anytime you want, you could set this aside, move around, take a few breaths. We're just looking and getting to know this. And we might have memories of times when we really were brave, when we moved closer to something or we saved someone's life, even at risk of our own. So we might be having experiences of memories where we're proud of ourselves and we really feel like we did exhibit bravery and compassion, courage, kindness. Notice what that feels like in your whole body. And we're going to finish the practice in a moment. But before we do, see if you could at least give yourself credit for the courage it takes to get to know yourself. Given how many core deficiency beliefs that we have and how much shame there is and how scared we can be of what's stored in this body, it takes a lot of courage to do this work. And you're here. So to give ourselves credit for that, that's bravery. That's courage. And let yourself feel that through your whole body from head to toes. And let's finish in silence